Hey everyone, it's Kristen. So we talked about last time the Gem and the Holograms X-Men crossover print that I bought, which, like I said, two of my favorite things combined. How fun is that? Um, so I was looking through my comics and I also found this. It's called Sisterhood of Steel, and it's actually a comic book series done by Christy Marx, who was the creator, director, writer of Gem and the Holograms. And she also did a couple episodes of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. I remember specifically A Firestar is Born and Iceman's Origins story. I can't remember the others, but I think there was at least like five or six. So I just thought that was cool that someone on my from my favorite show actually worked on another show that I really like that I found, of course, later in life. Um, so I have this one issue because it was issue 1 through 8, and I have issue 7. And I think how I ended up with this is because, comic book stores used to do the blind, bag where you see only the front issue, or even sometimes you wouldn't see any comic books, but you buy like 10 comic books for $5 or something. And I have a lot of random issues, I think, because of that. Like random. I mean, this is a Marvel comic book, but it's not like a super well-known comic book. I mean, not, like the Avengers or all the DC, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, that sort of thing. That's what I mean by random, is that it's not very well known. So I think that's how I ended up with this one. But I only have the one issue. So I reread it and it's actually pretty good. I might see if I can find the rest of them or at least find like a trade paperback for it because it's actually really good. It's fun. I mean, it's an interesting story. Uh, Speaking of interesting, another thing that's interesting is that I don't know how strict the like comic book code of authority or anything was back then because yeah, there's some interesting stuff in here. I'll get into that as we get into the comic book, but yeah, I read it and I was like, oh, okay. So basically, the Sisterhood of Steel is a society during like medieval times where this group of women they band together and they are warriors trained from birth, um, and they survive. Like their society, makes money, has food, all that stuff by hiring out their services to, other countries or royals or basically whoever can afford to pay them. But I don't think it doesn't, since they're so focused on justice and everything, I don't think they just are like mercenaries where they just, whoever's going to pay them, they'll do whatever they ask. I feel like if they, if they don't feel like it's justified, I don't feel like they would actually go and, you know, kill for just basically I don't think they just kill for money. I think they're, if there's a reason behind it, then okay, they'll do that. It kind of reminds me of course, the Amazons and Wonder Woman. The Society of Women, all warriors, don't really have men in their society, that sort of thing. So the story is centered on Bronwyn. Like I said, I only have this one issue. I tried to look it up online. There's not a whole lot of information on it. So this is going off of what I know from this one issue, basically. So the main character is Bronwyn, and she's about, I think, 17, 18, and she has been accused of treason. And in this society, there's a queen of swords, a princess of swords, a priestess of swords, and then like a judicial system because they're very focused on justice. So that's why I feel like they're not strictly mercenaries. So this woman, Lana, trying to convince this woman, Salinas, to represent her pupil, Bronwyn, and because she's, like I said, she's been accused of treason. So, and she's blind. She doesn't have any eyes because Salinas is like the greatest law woman, or like one of the best women in this society. So they have these things called sword mates, and basically you're raised together, you train together, you learn to fight together since birth. So this Bronwyn is accused of letting one of her sword mates, uh, Kelki, like I said, you know me in pronunciations. I'm not sure I'm getting all these right, but it is what it is. So she's accused of letting her sword mate Kelki leave the society for a man, no less. So, yeah, and she's also the Princess of Swords has also accused her of attacking her. So anyway, so here she is in her jail cell, and here's one of her sword mates, and her mentor, Lana, tells her sword mate, hey, get out of here. I need to talk to her. And this is one of the first, instances in this book where I'm like, oh, okay. Let's see if you can see it. Do you see that? She calls her a cheeky little slut. Which did they even really use that term in the 80s? I mean, honestly, I don't know. I thought that was a more modern term. I'm surprised that they used it in this book. I mean, I honestly, all my years of reading comic books, especially not in comic books during like 70s, 80s, even 90s, I don't really remember that term ever being used. So I'm pretty surprised, to say the least. So Salinas, the woman of law, is trying to get out of Bronwyn what happened that night. And Bronwyn is saying, well, I can't tell you what happened, because what happened is the Priestess of Swords recruited her, and she drank blood with the Daughters of Death. Like I said, I only have this one comic book, so I'm not exactly sure what that is, but basically you had to take a vow of silence about it. So I feel like it's a, ultra secret society within this society that like helps keep maybe the society in check or something. So she can't speak to the events of what happened that night because she has taken a vow of silence as regards to that night, what happened that night. So what we learn is the backstory is Lana um, actually served with the Princess of Swords, and her name is Vandellis. And this was like 11 years ago. And Vandellis, she was 21, but she's already a captain. Like I said, I'm not sure because the Queen of Swords is elected and she serves, her entire life. So I don't for sure know if the Princess of Swords is her daughter, but I'm assuming she is. Um, so anyway, they're taking this king to safety because the barbarians have attacked, and he's a really cowardly king. Like he, basically sacrificed all his men so he could escape. But he's like a really manly king and like super full of himself, has tons of confidence. So Vandellis, the Princess of Swords, now is really like attracted to that. So Vandellis is supposed to be like on watch that night because the barbarians could come back and they're everywhere. Oh gosh. I'm just gonna let you guys read this part. So anyway, she's found in an Vandellis is found in a compromising position with the king. Yeah. There's what he says. Yeah, that's what she says. Hopefully you can read that because don't know. I don't want to repeat it. Anyway, so the king's like, that was really good. I should make you my queen. And she says, there's only one queenship I desire someday. So basically she wants to be the Queen of Swords. Like I said, if that means, she, like, if she is actually the Queen of Swords' daughter, then she'd get to be queen eventually. But I don't know, like I said, I don't know, since I only have the one comic, if the hierarchy is correct on that. So let's see. I know you can read it now. So that's what she says to him. And that makes me think of The Office. That's what she said. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, so basically, she's found in this compromising position, and Lana is like, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be on watch." And Vandellis is like, "How dare you? Come in here." And the king also is like, "Get out of here." And what happens is, you know, the barbarians attack and they slice Vandellis's face, and they actually cut off Lana's arm. Because I mean, they surprise them because she's supposed to be on watch, and the person that Vandellis put in watch actually fell asleep, so they're just caught totally off guard. And so what happens is when they get back, Lana demands justice for the fact that she lost an arm because due to her dereliction of duty. And the king and Vandellis actually lie and say that's not what happened at all. So, Lana is basically just out of luck. So basically, Vandellis has it in for Lana because Vandellis feels like Lana is responsible for like ruining her face. And she hates her for it. And so therefore she hates her people, Bronwyn. And this is her saying, she's innocent of treason. And she's saying, they're saying that, well, Kelki, escaped with the help of a man, and you're sure that Bronwyn knew about it too and helped them plan their escape. And Bronwyn basically says, I didn't know about them escaping. Like, I didn't know about their plans. And maybe I didn't help them, but I didn't hinder them because even though, she's my shield mate, I mean, she's my sword mate, she's my best friend. And what happened is Kelki fell in love with a man and she got pregnant. And so Bronwyn's like, why would we drag her back here when she'll just be miserable? Like, she doesn't want to be here. She's in love. She wants to be with her, her guy. And her other sword mate, when we saw that it was in the prison, who the Lana called a cheeky little slut, which we're not sure. We're not really told why. She says she saw Bronwyn. Yeah, she tried to stop them. She fired at them as she was ordered, but being that it's her best friend, Kelki, she did hesitate a little, and she did try to bring them in alive. She wasn't trying to kill them. She tried to bring them in alive. She just wasn't successful. So basically, the trial keeps going on, and then they're like, well, yeah, but okay, even if, basically the defense is, she was my best friend. What do you expect me to do? I couldn't kill her, and she didn't want to be here. So the only thing I'm guilty of is loyalty to her, which is, kind of what they're taught is they grew up with these girls and they're loyal to them, and therefore they're loyal to the sisterhood. And then Vandellis says, well, what about her attacking me that night? And basically she says, Bronwyn says, I can't speak to what happened that night. And that's because, she took that vow of silence. Well, when, of course, she didn't really attack her, you see that Vandellis attacked Bronwyn first. And then, okay, see, this is the worst part. This is why I have to find all of them. Because we come in on the last page, and this woman runs in and says, the queen is dead. And I tried to find out what happens in the 8th issue, but I could not find it online. Like, there's no synopsis for it, so I don't know what happens. And I feel like some people said that there were a lot of plot lines that weren't tied up in the 8th issue because they knew that they were being canceled. Christy Mark and Mark Volsberg, they knew that the series was being canceled, so they, I think, just tried to tie up the main plot. But like I said, I don't even know what happens because I don't have the 8th issue. And I tried to find it online, like a synopsis at least, and I couldn't find that. So if anyone knows what actually happens, like whether Bronwyn is actually condemned, or if she's free, or if I find out why the queen died, because I feel like she might not have died of natural causes, considering how desperate Vandellis is to be queen. Just saying, she might have been poisoned. So anyway, since we just talked about Jem and the Holograms and the X-Men crossover, I thought it'd be fun just to talk about this comic book series that Christy Marx did. I mean, it's pretty cool for her to have her own comic book series, even though unfortunately it didn't last very long. But it was still like I think it'd be really cool to have my own comic book series. So anyway, I know this is a departure, kind of the last 2 videos from kind of what I usually do, but I just thought it was, fun for a change. So I hope you join me in the future for more videos. Like, subscribe, share. Just, I would really appreciate that. So until next time, bye.